everybody. Reggie Edwards, joined by the Naptown Nightmare, the WCWO Outlaw Champion, Juwan Thomas. Juwan, we're going to talk a little bit about WCWO, man, but we're going to talk a lot about everything else, man. First off, thanks for taking time, man. I really appreciate you doing this tonight.
That's no problem, man. I had a long day at work, came home, trying to decompress, but
Talking wrestling.
pretty much. There's no shows tonight because of weather, so here I am.
Yeah. Normally we'd be at WCWO. You would be facing Brandon Espinoza actually in about an hour, man. But we're gonna do that on Sunday. But man, you don't just wrestle at the W. You wrestle all over the place. AWR, IWA, Mid South, New Era, Summit Pro, man. A lot of promotions you've been a part of and wrestled at. But one thing that I think is really interesting is you are not a deathmatch wrestler. You do not enjoy deathmatch wrestling. What are you doing at IWA, Mid South, and AWR? What the hell?
So yeah, put it this way: they're deathmatch type wrestling. But I'm gonna put it this way: in some shows it's okay to have deathmatch, but you also need to have the variety of also just normal matches.
Yeah.
Because if you do deathmatch the whole show, in my personal opinion, and I may get flack for this, it gets played out. You got to have some breaks in between,
Yeah.
But those places that gave me a chance to, show what I can do.
Yeah, so, and it's just like ECW back in the day. They were known for hardcore wrestling, but they had just regular wrestling as well. It wasn't hardcore all the way through.
Yeah, like RVD, for example. He was the guy. They had hardcore all the way through most of the time, and RVD was the guy that came in with Jerry Lynn and all those guys and show that we don't got to do hardcore. We can just do our normal shit.
Yeah, and people forget Dean Malenko, Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, all those guys went through ECW. They're not hardcore wrestlers, and Jericho actually doesn't really even like hardcore wrestling, I don't think. So
no, he does not.
But what have your experiences been like at some of those other promotions?
My experience. So when I did IWA, I'm gonna put it this way: Joey Kid Owens took me to my first IWA show in my first year of wrestling. And it wasn't, the vibe there was kind of iffy. And me being like 17, 18, it was like, okay, I'm kind of like unsure. So it was one of those situations where it's like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be here. And then as time went on, and like Calvin Tengler, for example, he's one of my close friends in me team from day one when we first started. And he told me to start going down there, like find opportunities if I want to grow. And that's what I've been trying to do, But it is me being there is just basically just to learn and try to figure out where I fit in.
Sure. So how much of you personally is in the Juwan Thomas character? Because the Juwan Thomas character, not a nice guy. You don't want to mess with him. You don't want to screw with him. And even if he's having a good day, he'll kick your ass just because he can.
So the character. So let's break this down. So when I first started, it was Matthew Galloway.
Yeah.
It was just me just wanting to wrestle, just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And I took a year off. I was like, I got to change something up. I'm not having fun with this whole gimmick, this whole character. So I'm like, screw it. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be Juwan Thomas, which is my shoot name. I'm gonna be straight up.
Okay.
Just if I'm mad, that's what you see out there. That's me cutting to 1,000. Like I used to try to put like mixes of Edge or CM Punk or something like that in there, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be me, because if I'm original and honest out there to fans or anybody in the back, I won't regret it.
Right. So you were at WCWO for a while back.
Yeah.
Took some time away.
Yeah.
What did you do in your time away from WCWO?
So nobody's asked me that, but I'm gonna let everybody on this.
Really?
So when I took the time off, I was physically in pain, mentally burnt out. Because I was going nonstop.
Yeah.
And I think what put it to the breaking point was when my father passed, and I was like, okay, I got to go. And when I took that, I didn't think about wrestling, didn't focus on wrestling, didn't care about it. And You know, during that time, I was able to find who I was as a from a kid to a man, figure out who I am. But then during that time, I also found my wife and my two kids, who is now 5 and 7, almost 7 months now.
Yeah.
So like during that time, it was like, okay, just to figure out who I am personally. So then it made it easy for when I came back. Everything I just flew right back into where I left off. So
Awesome. And when you came back in what was it, summer, fall 2020? So we're going on about a year and a half now. It took a minute for you to really catch your stride and really come back into your own. What was that time like for you when you first came back? Because you catapulted straight into a program with Jordan James, who you have a history with, tag team partner, tag team champions with him, I believe. And automatically you're working with somebody who there's some familiarity with.
Yeah, that situation, it came kind of, the whole situation came like out of nowhere. So when the Dub did their relaunch show, I was just there before a one night only type deal. You know, that was just a one night only because it was me and Calvin versus I think Congo Kong and Jet.
Damn.
And it was basically me and Calvin had our whole tag team, the Rebellion, for one more night and all that stuff. And Kid came to me about 2 weeks later, and we started brainstorming. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. I told you one night only, and it morphed into its own thing and came into a program with Jordan, which was a little bit. Put it this way, it was raw because as you remember the street fight, you know, everything that we put in there, we threw it all in there. We threw like those were legit punches and hits we were throwing at each other. And Jordan and me teamed beforehand for like a year or two, won three tag titles together, and it just made sense for me to come back and do exactly who I was teaming with was Jordan.
Was it easy doing that program? Just easy working together? Was there chemistry? Was it?
So it was easy. It was easy because we knew each other's moveset to a degree, even though I had changed mine a lot, but we just knew how to work with each other because the year or two teaming with each other was just so fun. You know, we worked against Gregory Iron and Zach Gowan. Excuse me if I botch his name. Zach Gowan.
Oh, nice.
And we worked against was it the Rascals? No. The Hooligans.
Okay.
We worked against a lot of guys that we never thought we would be able to work with. We were privileged to work with them. But the whole program was so easy because we just knew exactly how to get people invested.
Right. And that from there you went into the program with Dex Royal over Christmas time, which we're gonna skip right past that. It was a good storyline, but 2021 is where you really started to come into your own. You came back in 2021 after the year started. Heel turn, and a pretty predominant heel turn. Like it was out of nowhere. And that's when I feel like you really started to get comfortable with the Juwan Thomas character again. Am I right?
Yeah, put it this way. Me as a baby can work.
Yeah.
But me as a heel is destined for greatness. I'm sorry. Like I know fans are gonna watch it and be like, hey, when are you gonna be a baby? I'll be honest with you. I don't think I wanna be baby.
It's easy to be a heel, man. It's more fun to be a heel for one, because it's fun to go out there and just be a dick, you know?
Yeah, and me being a heel is more organic for me. Because I can be an asshole to a lot of people out here, and me being a heel is just fun because I get more creativity in it.
Yeah. So I want to pause with 2021 and go way back. What made you want to become a wrestler, man? What was the moment that you remember, I want to do this? Who were some of the wrestlers? Was it WWE, WWF, TNA? WCW. I was a WCWO kid, or I'm a WCWO kid, obviously, but I was a WCW kid. And I remember that era being the best ever. But what was it about wrestling that sucked you in?
So it's a lot with that. So I guess my godfather got me to watch wrestling, but I don't remember much of it. I don't remember watching wrestling until 2018. I was going to daycare, and there was these kids playing the wrestling video games. I'm like, "Oh, this is kind of cool."
Oh wow!
I think it was SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth or whatever. I can't remember.
Nice.
But they were playing it. They said, "Hey, just watch." It was Monday. They said, "Hey, watch this when you get home at like I think it was 9 o'clock during that time."
Yeah.
They watch this when you get home. And I had to sneak. I had my bedtime was 9 o'clock. I had to sneak before my mom went to bed to watch Monday Night Raw.
Nice.
And the instant what gravitated me towards it was when I saw Jeff Hardy do that swanton off that scaffold.
Yeah.
And that's what got me going. Jeff Hardy is one of the guys that got me invested in it. And as time went on, guys like Edge, CM Punk, Triple H, let's go to TNA real quick. We got AJ Styles, you got Samoa Joe, you got Rude, you got Storm.
Yeah.
As time goes on, we got Japan, we got Kenny, who's in AEW now. You got Jay White, you got the Gorillas of Destiny. You know, the list goes on and on, man. Like, I don't just watch, and I tell, like, when I was helping train, I tell the trainees, don't just watch one product, watch every product because there's so much out there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's right now reminds me of when I was a kid in the 90s and you had so much wrestling just everywhere. And it's so much more fun now. And I'm just glad that the kids now have the experience that I had when I was a kid. It's not just the WWE, Impact, AEW. You know, it's just so much better. But going back to WCWO, 2021, you started to become a heel, really started to catch your stride. At what point in 2021 was it that you were like, this is where, like, you really started to feel it? At what point? Because you started feuding with Max Sterling, and what better way to be a heel at WCWO than to feud with Max Sterling and basically try to kill the guy off?
Yeah. That happened out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I didn't find my groove yet when that happened. I didn't find my groove till me and Jason Levi started feuding.
Yeah, that was a long one too.
And like when we started that, it was like, wait a minute, I feel something. I just don't know what it is. I'm just going with it. Right. And as time went on with that, I really started finding my niche because then I started being real crazy and getting real creative and really starting to have fun again.
Yeah. Well, and Jason, like, you know, to pull the curtain back, Jason will let you do pretty much whatever you want to do with him. He does not care. It's like the crazier it is, the better. The more dangerous it is, the better. There's a lot of creative freedom when it comes to him. And I feel like in 21, he was a lot easier to work with than he had been in the past as well. He had kind of let up a lot as well and really been fun to work with in a lot of ways. But I think what a lot of people remember from last year, which actually made Hoosier Wrestling Alliance's top matches of 2021, was the pit fight with Dalton Davis. Where unfortunately, you lost the Gunslinger Championship. But that story was amazing. I know it looks like it's a sore spot, but what did having that Gunslinger Championship, to go back a little bit, mean to you? Because it was the first title you had at the Dub in a while.
Yeah. And with the whole Gunslinger, you know, I know some people are going to also give me flack for that. I'm going to give respect to Jesse Winchester for this because he was the original title holder. He got hurt. Yeah, he got hurt, you know, and opportunity knocked him in the door, and I decided to say, hey, you know what, I feel like I can bring some legitimacy to this belt, right? Get it going to the way it should, you know. Yeah. And that was my main goal with that belt. I wanted to bring legitimacy to it and actually, like, give people not to take it as a joke, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of that belt.
And it literally came out of nowhere. This is a legit, like, shoot. Jesse did not know that battle royal was going to be for a championship, mainly because it was decided 10 minutes before the match that match was going to be for a championship. He thought it was a number one contenders he thought it was for the number one contender spot, and then he wins the match, and I come out with the belt. And
that night was crazy because I think I did that Chairs of Insanity match that night.
Oh shoot! Oh good
so
God. Yeah,
that Chairs of Insanity, like me and Justin had so much creativity until I set up that whole bed of chairs on the outside, which was my whole idea, which was kind of dumb because I made it stiff, but it worked. The way how we structured the match, it worked.
Yeah,
it hurts, but we do it for a reason, for the fans to give us something to remember.
And that wears off. And I remember a kid telling me backstage, we're going to do Chairs of Insanity between Levi and Juwan. All I remember thinking was, that just sounds dangerous. Like, that doesn't sound fun for either guy, but they're both going to do it. So
it's completely dangerous. Levi left with some knots on his head, like legit knots. I left with a lot of bruises, and I was banged up for about a week or two.
Yeah. So holding a title like the Gunslinger title, where you're the second champion the second ever holder, but not only that, but you're taking over the title reign from somebody who got injured and wasn't able to defend it. Did that put any pressure on you?
It put a little bit of pressure because, being injured, which hopefully I never do, being injured, it sucks, especially when you win your first belt.
Yeah.
And you wanna hold up your end and bring it all to the table, and you can't. I felt some pressure there because, me as a person, backstage, I'm not just going. If you got hurt and I take the belt, I'm not just representing myself, but I'm representing you at the same time because you're not able to, give it your all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and man, it was tough when he got hurt and had to lose it, but I feel like the reign that you had with it really, like you said, gave legitimacy to that title and put it on another level, especially considering over the summer when you had the belt, Tom Van Zant won the territorial and took off with it. So you really were the second tier champion throughout probably half of 2021. And one thing that a lot of people don't realize, and some might, but a lot of fans may not, is the night of the pit fight with Dalton Davis. You weren't even sure if you were going to be able to make it to that show because you guys were having a baby that night.
Yeah, that whole deal is so. The day of the pit fight, everything was normal. We go out to eat before the show, and some didn't seem right, but we just go ahead and do it,
Right.
And me and Dalton we're going over the pit fight, and I'm like, dude, I don't really want to take anything because if she pops, I ain't gonna be able to get in the hospital because I'm covered in glass and blood.
Right. Not a good look when you're having a baby.
No, not at all.
No.
But she was there and she watched the whole match. She kind of got mad because I took some light tubes, even though I'm against doing that. For reasons why Dale Patrick, who is very known in the death match, he told me never to do that stuff because it's not worth it. Right. And it's not. But in some people's eyes, it pays good, But
yeah.
That night was weird because after we got done with the pit fight, I got changed, went home, took a shower. We sat down for like an hour. Her water breaks and we have to go to the hospital. So that whole night was like very hectic. So I went from a show to home to the hospital all in one night. So
how is having a newborn baby? I can tell you from my perspective, because I had twins around the same time that you had your son. But how has been having a newborn? Has that affected the way you approach professional wrestling? Do you try to be safer? Do you go all out? Is it pretty much the same as always? Like, has it affected anything?
Not really. It depends. Okay, but it depends. Like, let's say if I'm doing like another chairs match or a ladder match, it may change a little bit, but not much. Like certain big spots, I probably won't do.
Right.
You know, but it just depends.
Right. So, Luke, obviously you lost the Gunslinger title. We're not going to talk too much more about that. Still a little sore subject. But
Just a little bit.
After that, though, you brought in Mississippi's Eric Onyx. Eric Onyx was already with you. He left for a while for reasons none of us still know or understand whatsoever.
Y'all ain't got to worry about that. I
But
know why, but
right.
continue.
From what I understand, it's going well now for you guys, not for any of us. But you brought Mississippi's under your wing, and he's really come into his own.
Yeah.
Went straight into basically for the last few months of the year feuding with Dex Royal, who was the Outlaw champion at the time. Long story short, on Christmas night, won the Outlaw title from Dex Royal.
Yeah, that coming by surprise because I wasn't. So I'm not a belt guy. I'm gonna put it this way. I view belts, they're accomplishments like trophies. You win a trophy, and it sits on your shelf the whole time. You know,
right.
you know it's there, but you don't care.
Sure.
It's a prop, basically.
Sure.
You know, and like I'm thankful that Kid is giving me a shot to show what I can do, and he believes in me to carry the company. But I've told him I think he knows this because I told him that personally. I was like, I don't care about the belt. I just want to have fun.
Right.
I want to help elevate the new crop of talent that's trying to do something and make it.
But however, on the other hand, by having the Outlaw title and then these younger guys being under your and being with you, automatically they're on another level now as well because they're in the spotlight with the Outlaw champion, feuding with the tag team champions and the man who had the Outlaw title last. They're automatically elevating and put on another level. And so by having that Outlaw title, anybody that's associated with you, hell, even me, just by doing this interview right now, anything associated with you is on a higher level, it seems like.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm doing pretty good.
So the whole thing with Zay and Eric, I really wanted to do something with the younger talent because it wasn't done with me. And I wish that when I started, I had that to a degree. But like 2014, 2015, 2017, it wasn't there like that, you know. But now I just want to just give back and help them understand how this business works because this business can get crazy, it can get hectic, you can get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in a place that would like WCWO where there's some week there's literally 50 people wanting to get on the show some weeks. I mean, it's crazy watching that try to get put together and put together well. But I can tell that just by winning the Outlaw title, you're taking it very seriously. You've got the suit. You've got, a completely different approach. You're working on character development, all kinds of stuff to try to evolve as a wrestler and as a character. How important do you feel like that is, especially in the world of indie pro wrestling, where there's 10 million wrestlers out there all trying to do the same thing, get to the same place, but not a lot of them change things up along the way.
It's character development, all that is very important, like right now in this business. For one, WWE, Impact, AEW, all them look at character development because that's what sells tickets. If you cannot connect with the crowd, if you can't connect with any of the boys or girls backstage, there's no point of you even trying because it's not going to work. I went through so many characters I can't count. I can't remember. It's just something now because the whole suit thing just kept happening because I was like, wait, Triple H used to wear a suit. Ric Flair did it. Seth Rollins is doing it now. I'm like, it hasn't been done at the Dub. Let me try this.
I just love how like half the time that you send me an idea like, hey, what do you think if I do this? I'm like, we were literally thinking the exact same thing. It's perfect. The suit and tie, it's perfect. Now, the group that you have with Eric, Zay, and yourself, you ever see yourself adding to that group at any point down the road, or do you see it more as like the original NWO, where it's better? It would have been better if it was left alone and not touched. You know?
Put it this way: some days I see adding another person or two, but then at the same time I see just leaving it alone and like legacy, Randy Orton, Ted DiBiase, and Cody. That's how I see the group right now.
Right.
Because let's say if it comes down to the end, there's so many ways we can go about it, and it can be so creative.
Yeah. However, if you add another longtime wrestler too, it could be like an evolution.
Yeah.
You know, we got the two young guys and basically the two veteran guys trying to keep them under control, which, you know, I feel like it's going to be easier to keep them under control than it would be Orton and Batista, but still. So with being the current Outlaw champion right now.
Go ahead.
So being the current Outlaw champion right now, obviously, you know, it looks like you put things to rest with Dex Royal. There's a line of people ready to take you on for that title. Where does Juwan Thomas go from here? Going into the third month of 2022.
First off, I'm gonna say this, and this is going directly to Dex. It's time for you, buddy, to get to the back of the line. I beat you twice. Twice in 2 months, man. Get to the back. Let somebody else step up. Just move aside. But to the other talent,
he's not gonna like that.
All I can tell you is the same thing I told Dex. Just bring it, and I hope you know I'm ready to fight, and I will die on my shield if I have to. You don't have to kill me to beat me, and you don't have to kill me to take that belt from me. It's just that simple.
I love it, man. Oh, multiple time tag team champion, former territorial champion, former gunslinger champion, current outlaw champion. You've done it all, man. But you're just getting started at the same time.
Man, it's weird to say that because, like I said, I've been doing this for 7 years. And for me to now start finding a groove is kind of, it's in my opinion, it's sad, but it's also bittersweet because the people that take the longest to find their groove, the people that take the longest to find their itch, it just makes down the line, at the end of the tunnel, even better.
Yep, absolutely. And man, it's going to be a hell of a ride from here to the end of the year. We will be every week for the rest of the year and going forward, weekly shows at WCWO. And man, I look forward to seeing what the rest of your Outlaw title reign looks like because it's been fun to watch so far.
All I can say is with that, just look forward to some crazy stuff because I tend to go a little bit too far. Like as you saw in the chain match.
Yeah, good God. Talk about that match because you guys beat the holy hell out of each other, dude. I mean, the cage match was brutal, but like, Jesus.
When you add like when you add something like that, it's going to get brutal. You got to be a little bit more harsh.
Yeah.
And what made that, in my opinion, what made the match brutal was the chain, but the thumbtacks made it even more.
Yeah.
You know, because some fans don't get to see that, you know, so it just made it even more, in my opinion, made it a little bit more better.
Yeah. Do the tacks hurt more going in or coming out?
I don't know, to be honest. To me, I don't feel them. I'd rather do thumbtacks than barbed wire, put it that way.
That's fair. That's fair. Man, yeah, I'm all for taking neither of them myself. So I'm good. But man, Juwan, thanks for taking time tonight. I really appreciate it. It's been a hell of a ride so far. It's been fun to see the ascent of Juwan Thomas up the ladder at WCWO. Not always the most fun as the interviewer backstage. You're not always the nicest to me back there, but I'm also impeding on your personal time, so I get it.
It's put it this way: if I'm the guy, okay, at a show you're gonna get the character, but outside the show, you may get a little bit of the character, but I'm gonna let you in on who I really am. And I think that's why my fan base is somewhat grown, because it's not the character, it's me.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. And it's going to be fun to see what happens from here on. Congratulations on all the success and all of the character growth so far. And it's only uphill from here, man.
Yeah, just ready for this crazy ride that I've been doing.
Yes. Awesome, man. Well, I'll let you get back to your night, man. Thank you for taking time. I appreciate it. And say hi to the wife and kids for me. I'll see them at a show soon.
Thank you, man. I'll see you soon.
That was good, man. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.